Hello, I am the Understudy, and this is the channel where we discuss everything musical theater related. Today we are reading Barron's AP Music Theory, 3rd edition by Nancy Fuller-Skagen, BME. This is a long and extensive book, and I'm working my way through it to learn more, but I'm very happy that you hear me while I organize my own journey. Before we start, write any questions in the comments, and I will see what I can do to respond to them, or maybe make a new video. This is part 20, Strategies for Harmonic Dictation, free response 3 and free response 4. Preparing for harmonic dictation. Students often lack confidence when doing harmonic dictation. It does require an advanced level of understanding and the ability to connect several overlapping skills. Harmonic dictation requires knowledge of the function of chords within the tonality and the relationship to each other, as well as skills to orally identify quality and inversion. If you have completed progressive studies in the harmonic dictation found in Chapter 15, you are well on your way to successful dictation of a 4-part harmony. Let's answer a few remaining questions and then practice with 12 more examples. So how can I prepare before the first playing starts? The key is given. Write the chord menus. So you don't have to think about what notes to go with which chord while trying to hear, identify, and notate. If nothing else, write the name of the pitch that is the leading tone, especially if the key is in minor. Notice the similarities between C major and C minor, as you can see here. So we have the Roman numerals of each. We can see the similarities in the different majors and minors. These are the same because of the raised leading tone here. Wait, actually, even the raised leading tone here is what I mean. This is just the 5/5. So what steps should I follow during the oral prompts to achieve the most success? There are several ways to listen. There's not just one way to hear harmonic dictation. The best thing to do is to determine what works best for you and develop your own strategy. Here are 2 methods that work well. Method 1. Hearing is vertically, or method 1 is hearing vertically, identifying the function and quality of chords first and then confirming with a bass or soprano line. So playing 1, listen for the chunks of the phrase for familiar patterns top to bottom. In other words, listen to the full chord to recognize the sound of tonic moving to dominant and then back to tonic, not just linear listening outlined in method 2. Fill in the blank with the correct Roman numeral chord symbols. You will confirm the inversions when you listen specifically to the bass line. Identify and notate the cadence. The cadence will usually be in root position, and you will have recognizable melodic patterns in both bass and soprano. For playing 2, listen to the bass line to confirm chord quality and inversions. Notate the bass line. Playing 3, listen to the soprano. Expect contrary motion to the bass line. Listen for recognizable and familiar patterns. Notate as much of the soprano and bass line as possible. Listen for dissonance that may indicate a 7th chord. And in free response 4, anticipate and prepare your ear for the possibility of chromatic harmony with the accidental often occurring in the soprano or the bass. And playing 4, listen specifically for what you have left blank. Review and check your work. Most students tend to be linear listeners, since unless they're pianists, students who sing soprano or bass, play the clarinet or cello, look at music one line at a time, and therefore generally hear music one line at a time. So method 2 is a linear method. Listening for the bass line first and then the soprano as separate lines and logically determining the chord symbols, implied harmony, based on counterpoint. Some students find it easier to hear the soprano or melody line first and then add the bass line and chord quality. Do what works for you. So playing 1, listen to the bass line. While you are listening the first time, try to pick out the bass line and listen to the bass notes in your head right after you hear it. As you sing the bass, assign solfege to the pitches. The solfege tells you the placement of the notes within the scale and also implies harmony. Identify and notate the cadence. The cadence will usually be in root position and will have recognizable melodic patterns in both bass and soprano. Playing 2, listen to the soprano. Notice the shape of the contour or the soprano compared to the bass. Remember that the bass and soprano most often move in contrary motion. The melody will be mostly mostly steps and skips, while the bass tends to be more disjunct. Notate as much of the melody as you can and fill in Roman numeral chord symbols that you have already identified. Playing 3. Listen vertically for the chord quality. Determine the chord symbols as you review both bass line and soprano. Listen for identifiable patterns in both melody and bass line. By now, many two chords progressions such as the dominant to tonic should be easily recognizable. Remember the progression usually returns to the tonic on the third and fourth chord, and you may hear the dominant tonic in places other than the cadence. Listen for dissonance that may indicate a seventh chord. And in free response 4, anticipate and prepare your ear for the possibility of chromatic harmony. And for playing 4, listen specifically for what you have left blank, review, and check your work. So now let us review a little bit. Understand what harmonies are implied from knowing the bass line. So here we have the bass, the implied harmony, and the possibilities. So we've already gone through these in a different chapter. Here they are again. We have do, meaning implied harmony for the tonic, possibly something else, but I'm just gonna go through the most implied ones, and you can read the possible ones yourself. So for the bass, for T, we have a dominant with the first inversion, possibly with an added seventh. If you hear a la in the bass, it is most likely a submediant. If you hear so, it is most likely a dominant. If you hear fa, it is most likely a subdominant. And if you hear mi, it most likely, because there is no other possibility here, a tonic in first inversion. And if you hear re, it is a supertonic. We also have the beginning harmony implications or implied beginning harmony from the common bass lines. So we have do, ti, do, tonic, tonic, dominant, first inversion tonic. Do, ti, do can also be with an added seventh. We have do, re, mi with a tonic, second inversion dominant to a first inversion tonic. We can also have this with a leading tone first inversion triad. We have do, 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 meaning the tonic, the subdominant in second inversion, and the tonic. We have do, fa, mi, which can either be the tonic to a seventh dominant third inversion to the first inversion tonic, or it can be a tonic to a subdominant to a tonic in first inversion. Do, mi, so usually means it's all tonic, root position, first inversion, and second inversion. We also have the implied end harmonies and their type of cadences, what it means. So common bass lines, so do implies an authentic cadence, and here you see it spelled out. We have so do can also be spelled out this way. Fa so do also implies an authentic cadence, and we have 4 different examples of what fa so do might imply in the end harmony. You can see here that these are just added sevenths. We have fa so la, deceptive, or fa so lay, also deceptive, and this is the major and the minor example. We have so la, deceptive, and so lay, deceptive. We have the major and minor examples. Fa so do, plagal. You can see here that it is the subdominant to the tonic, which is plagal, whether we have it in major or minor. Fa so, which is a half, and it ends on the It ends on the dominant, and it is either the subdominant or the supertonic in first inversion, in major or minor. And we have lay so, which is the Phrygian half. This is misspelled. It should be a little v, small letter, and it is when we are moving from the subdominant to in minor to a major dominant chord. We also have common middle phrases, so implied mid-phrase harmonies based on the common bass lines. We have so, fa, mi, we have mi, fa, so do, la, fa, mi, fa, mi, fa, re, fa, which only occurs when we have the dominant, the subdominant to the supertonic in first inversion, not the other way around. We have fa, fi, so, which means that there is most likely a secondary dominance there. And we have fa, so, si, la, which also has the secondary dominance, but of the submediant. And here we have me, mi, fa, which is also a secondary dominant, but of the subdominant. Other tips to maximize success. If you have left several blanks on the exam, start to make note of what you can positively identify and write a reminder in the margin or near the answers blank when in doubt to make an educated guess. Do not leave any blanks. Does your progression move in the tonic, subdominant, dominant fashion? It should. Check for retrogression if it doesn't. Have you written parallel fifths or octaves between the soprano and bass? If so, one or possibly both are wrong. If you change your bass, you've changed your chord symbol too. Is the last note the correct value? Have you used stems and filled in note heads where necessary? The perfect authentic cadence is used most often, and the most common perfect authentic cadence is the second inversion tonic to a dominant seventh chord to the tonic. In the perfect authentic cadence, the dominant seventh chord is used more often than the just dominant without the seventh. To avoid running out of time, use the facing page or staff paper for writing the chord menus and for scratch paper only. Do all your work on the question page. If you use the staff paper, remember to allow yourself enough time to transfer information to the question page. You are now ready for more practice on four-part harmonic dictation. The following 12 exercises are the same lengths and appropriately difficulty as on the AP Music Theory exam. These will be posted in the quiz or the practice exercises video because this part is now finished. This is the end of strategies for harmonic dictation. So thank you so much for watching. If you like what you see, I'd be honored if you subscribe and leave the like button, but no pressure. And if you have any questions, make sure to leave them down below, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much.